Hi, folks. We're Tacitus today, your pushback channel, and thank you for joining this audio live stream. In this essay, I'd like to talk about the big game console players, and there seems to be more leaked information coming out about Xbox, but whatever I've seen from the other big game console manufacturers and game manufacturers, they're pretty much talking the same language here. Now, gaming was exclusively, and given the big graphics end of the strategy games, that sort of stuff, that is pretty much exclusively a male domain. And this was something that, given the globalist thing is to look at anywhere where whites, particularly straight white males, but anywhere where males gather, and to break it up. It must be destroyed, broken up, infiltrated, undermined, subverted, fucked up. They're all Nazis, they're all fascist, every one of them is Hitler, and so on. So gaming was seen that's a place where straight white males are gathering, strategy gaming, that sort of stuff in particular. So we've got to go out, we've got to stop that. There can be no place anywhere in the world where straight white males can gather and do their thing, whether it's movies they like, franchises they like, such as going to watch, Star Wars or something. Now we've got to subvert that. And gaming was really high on the list of areas that needed to be subverted and undermined. So there was already a momentum to do that. Now, whether or not the overall globalist strategy was to really represent minorities and present them in a positive sort of light, or whether this was purely a stalking horse to undermine any place where white males might gather, whether it be gaming or anywhere else, then it's a little bit harder to say. I would suggest the globalists don't give a fuck about black lesbians or blue-haired lesbians. They don't give a flying fuck about it. But what they do want to do is to use those people to infiltrate them into straight spaces for straight white males, which then gives the knock-on effect of saying, well, you don't like this, you fucking Nazis. And this is, I think, the strategy. Nonetheless, having a look at the gaming industry. Now, I guess it surprises me that, okay, we want to appeal to, we've got a customer base is pretty much exclusively straight white males. I mean, the odd bits and pieces, but pretty much that's it. So we want to appeal to a base of customers beyond that. So how do we do that? Well, we don't understand these black lesbians and so on. So what we'll do is we'll hire a bunch of black lesbians, pay them fuckloads of money, even though they've got an IQ of minus 10 million, we'll pay them and we'll put them in charge of that. They will find this audience of black lesbians or blue-haired lesbians or whatever. And we'll just let them loose. We'll give them sort of free rein to either create absolute havoc, because if we make it tougher and more difficult and unpleasant for straight white males, that alone is an accomplishment. Whether or not we sell more, who cares? So now, if you look at the overall picture here, then the gaming industry, if you look at the internal communications, at least the ones that have been leaked, I mean, maybe this one's doing a bit of selective leaking here. The gaming industry was sort of reaching a plateau anyway. The saturation level was pretty high. The amount of new straight white males coming into the mix, as in potential customers, the new straight white males, that was sort of tapering off or plateauing, I guess, more than tapering off, although it did taper off to some extent. So like any business with shareholders and so on, it's okay, well, sales are kind of stalling. We're not shifting. We've already got, I think it was Microsoft Xbox. I think they claim to have 1 billion users. Now they do some slicing and dicing of the data about 1 billion users, which makes it a bit hard. Are these 1 billion current users? Are these people who bought an Xbox 10 years ago but haven't plugged it in since? Or are these people that bought it when they were, say, in college, but now they're working a full-time job? They don't really have much time for computer gaming, and they're in their mid-30s today, and they've got family responsibilities and so on and so forth. So there was also other claims that at any given month there were 500 million active Xbox users. So when you look at the numbers, it's a little bit hard to get a beat on it, but overall, the Xbox was claiming, if I've understood the documents correctly, they're claiming they've got 1 billion users. But what surprised me when I saw this, they claimed that this is again the internal documents, and I don't know how many were these people all smoking crack cocaine or something. I don't know. But they claimed that there were 3 billion potential new users out there, and they just weren't reaching them. And now it's a bit hard to work out how they calculated 3 billion. Were they looking at the total population of the planet? And they were looking at and this is what appears to be the case. They're looking, well, in rich white Western countries, the penetration of the Xbox is such and such, maybe China included here, but amongst women, minorities, lesbians, black people in Africa, or and all this sort of stuff, amongst those people, Indians, China, Pakistanis, the Muslim world, amongst those people, the poorest people in the world, the penetration of Xbox would have been many degrees less. So did they just say, well, look, here's the population of the total planet. This is the penetration Xbox gets in the rich white countries. Therefore, by extrapolation, if we look at then the rest of the population outside of the Western world, there are 3 billion new users that we potentially could get, or 3 billion people that are not using Xbox. We think they should, and they're not. So how do we reach those people? Well, the dirt poor people in the village out in the middle of nowhere in Pakistan, they haven't got the money, they haven't even got the electricity. I mean, they're not going to be users. Nah, screw that. Who cares about that? You know what the reason is why we don't have those 3 billion people? Those 3 billion customers. The reason is racism, fascism, Nazi, Hitler, white supremacy. And what the reason, this is how we can bring those people in as customers, this mythical customer. What we do is we find games, we produce games on the relatable to them. So lots of black people, lots of black lesbians, lots of black people killing white people. Oh, yeah, that's a fucking winner. Yeah. Lots of lesbians killing straight white men. Oh, fuck, that'll bring them in, and so on. So the marketing strategy was, well, wait a minute, stop, someone says in the middle of the meeting. Won't we alienate our existing customer base? What did you say? You fucking Nazi, get the fuck out of here. You're out of a job, motherfucker, and so on. So how did it must have played out along those lines, because no sane person would do that. I know what we'll do. We'll just alienate our existing customer base. We'll fuck them off. We'll shit them, and we'll just get rid of those Nazi mother. No, you wouldn't do that. No business person would do that. But somehow that's what happened. And it's hard to get your head around the level of delusion. Firstly, why would you piss off your existing customer base? Now, whether it's Gillette or Bud Light or something, why would you do that? I mean, it's a dumb fucking move. And why would you go and chase a market there that you imagine might exist? And the only way you can get that market is by hating on white people. That's the only way you can get it. Hating on straight white people, that's it. That is your complete marketing strategy. I mean, what the fuck? Now, ideological fanatics were given the gig here, and I assume they were egged on and cheered on by the Black Rocks and the State Streets and the Vanguard. Yeah, go out and get those straight white Christian males, kick their fucking ass. I'm sure that was going on, but equally as just purely as business decision. I'm sitting in the CEO's chair and they come in and pitch this to me. What we're going to do is piss off our existing customers and we'll really treat them like shit. And as a CEO, go, what did you just say, you fucking moron? I mean, it just wouldn't fly, just as a starting point. Okay, now we want to attract a bigger audience, and we want to, sales have plateaued among straight white males, so we need to, as was with the case with Gillette and Bud, and so in the parts of the gaming industry, so we need to appeal to a wider audience. Now, the advisors they called in, like Sweet Baby Inc. and all that sort of stuff to do that, they were hysterical fanatics, social justice, LGBTQ fanatics. Why would you go to people like that to get advice? I mean, you wouldn't. No sane person would. And they're unimpressive in the extreme, even putting aside the ideology. Why would I listen to these bunch of fucking morons? You wouldn't. So there's clearly an ideological sort of, movement behind it, just creating a momentum generally. But coming back just to the sheer numbers, if you want to create more customers and bring more new customers, new business in the door, you create a better product. You create a more exciting, better games, more exciting products. And if you want to create, appeal to certain audiences, like say, I don't know, the lesbian audience or something like that, then create a uniquely all lesbian game. Why must you infiltrate the popular straight white male game, which gives away really their motivation is to subvert the straight white male space, not to represent the lesbian. But if you did want to chase new markets, then create a lesbian game, black lesbian game, or a gay game, or a black game, or create a Wakanda game or something, all that sort of stuff, and that would also test are these audiences, do they exist? But if the only way you can make a game appealing to these people is to hate on white people, then what have you accomplished? I mean, have you accomplished anything in a commercial sense? For every 2 customers you lose, or 3 customers you lose amongst straight white men, you may gain 1 from the minority group. But was the minority group that they claim exists? Remember, they've only got 1 billion users at max, and they're claiming this is Xbox, they're claiming there are 3 billion new users out there. Now, there was a rubber factor in there. Were they projecting this over, say, a 20-year time frame? Or were they saying that today, this very minute, there are 3 billion potential new customers out there? Because among they would include the most dirt poor countries in the world. They're not going to be. I mean, the reality is they're never going to be users. Why would the black lesbian be interested in games anyway? It's very much a guy thing. So this was rather just a ridiculous. People. If you just do straight numbers and say that any living person out there is a potential customer, that's an absurd way of crunching numbers and determining market size. But it seems they were doing things that basic, like a first-year high school kid would make a dumb, fucked up mistake like that. But people that being paid $500,000 a year, with the fancy office overlooking the lake and all that, no. So they were hiring the wrong people, giving responsibility to the wrong people. But overall, the whole intellectual or lack of intellect, but the driving room pushing it was deeply flawed from the beginning. And the outcome that they got, which was to fuck themselves up, was inevitable. Blind Freddy could have seen that coming. You've been with Tacitus today, your Pushback channel. Thank you for listening.